Decoding the future of AI. Welcome to AI Perspective. What if an AI could do more than just answer your questions? What if it could understand your goals? I mean, truly understand them. What if it could then go out onto the vast, chaotic internet, find the exact tools it needs, teach itself how to use them, and complete a complex project, all while you sleep? This isn't a forecast for 2030. This is happening right now. It's called Giga Agent, and it represents a monumental leap forward. A move from simple instruction followers to fully autonomous self-learning problem solvers. You don't configure it. You don't preload it with skills. You just give it a mission. And it figures out the rest. The demonstrations that have surfaced are not just clever tricks. They are a glimpse into a future that has arrived far sooner than anyone expected. Let's start with a task that would normally take a startup team weeks, if not months. The prompt was simple. Analyze the current market and launch a direct-to-consumer brand for sustainable pet toys. What happened next is where things get surreal. Giga Agent didn't just search for data. It initiated parallel queries across financial APIs like Bloomberg Terminal, parsed venture capital trend reports from Crunchbase, and even analyzed social media sentiment on platforms like TikTok and Instagram to identify the target demographics' core values. It concluded the ideal market was eco-conscious millennials in urban areas. Then the creative work began. It accessed generative AI APIs, not just one, but 3, pitting them against each other to create a brand name, a logo, and a tagline. It settled on TerraPause, simple, memorable, effective. But a brand is nothing without a storefront. Giga Agent used the Vercel API to deploy a live, functional landing page. It didn't use a template. It generated the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript from scratch, wrote compelling marketing copy based on its earlier sentiment analysis, and integrated a Stripe API for pre-orders. Within 25 minutes, a fully formed business was live on the web. It then orchestrated the launch. It wrote and scheduled an entire week of content for LinkedIn and Instagram, created a product hunt listing complete with generated images of the non-existent products, and even drafted outreach emails to a list of pet industry influencers it had compiled on its own. It handled everything. The user who gave the prompt simply woke up to a dashboard showing pre-order revenue. Think about the sheer complexity of that. Market research, branding, web development, marketing, and sales, all executed seamlessly by one AI, in the time it takes to watch a movie. But corporate tasks are just one side of the coin. Giga Agent's real power is its adaptability. Take software development. A team of engineers gave it this goal. Reduce our company's cloud infrastructure costs on AWS without compromising performance. Giga Agent didn't just spit out recommendations. It requested read-only access to the company's AWS billing and performance logs via their secure API. It ingested years of data in minutes, identifying a specific database query that was inefficient and responsible for 18% of their monthly spend. Then, it did something that shocked the entire engineering team. It located the corresponding code in their private GitHub repository, checked out a new branch, and refactored the function. It wrote more efficient code, but it didn't stop there. It provisioned a temporary sandboxed environment, ran a suite of performance tests to validate its changes, and found its own code had introduced a minor latency issue. So it iterated. It rewrote the function a second time, adding an asynchronous call that solved the latency. Only then did it submit a pull request, complete with a detailed summary of the problem, its solution, and benchmark data showing a projected annual savings of over $100,000. It acted not like a tool, but like a senior principal engineer. Autonomous, meticulous, and effective. Okay, so it's a business and coding prodigy. But can it be creative? Someone decided to test this, giving it a one-sentence prompt. Create a short animated film about a lonely robot who discovers music in a post-apocalyptic city. This is where the agent's ability to choreograph tools becomes breathtaking. First, it generated a 3-act script, complete with character arcs and dialogue cues. Then, it translated the script into a visual sequence, accessing Midjourney's API to generate hundreds of storyboard panels. It self-critiqued, discarding panels that didn't fit the emotional tone it was aiming for. Next, it needed a soundtrack. It connected to Suno, the AI music generation service, providing a detailed prompt for the score. A melancholic yet hopeful synthwave track that builds to a triumphant crescendo. With the script, storyboards, and music in place, it accessed a cloud-based 3D rendering farms API, submitting the storyboards and instructions to generate the final animated scenes. Finally, it downloaded the rendered clips, the musical score, and accessed a royalty-free sound effects library to pull sounds of wind, metallic footsteps, and crackling fire. It stitched everything together, timing the cuts to the music, and outputted a finished 2-minute animated film. A task that would take a small animation studio a month, completed in under an hour. So how is any of this possible? This isn't just a bigger language model. This is a fundamentally new architecture. The core of Giga Agent is something its creators at Nexus Dynamics call the cognitive core, powered by a breakthrough known as the Dynamic Tool Use Protocol, or DTUP. Forget manually programming an AI for each new tool. When Giga Agent encounters a new service, say, a new social media site or a new data analysis platform, it actively probes its API. It reads the documentation, understands the authentication methods, learns the data formats, and figures out the rate limits. It builds its own internal API ontology graph, a mental map of the digital world and how its parts connect. This map is not static. It grows and refines itself with every single task. Today it learns Jira. Tomorrow it learns Figma. When a developer updates an API, Giga Agent detects the change, reads the new documentation, and updates its strategy automatically. It never becomes obsolete. It is constantly learning, constantly evolving. Its reasoning is powered by what they call speculative execution. It runs thousands of micro-simulations per second, predicting the likely outcomes of different action sequences before choosing the most optimal path. This is how it can navigate complex, multi-step tasks with such incredible speed and precision. Now the immediate question is obvious. Is this safe? An AI with this level of autonomy and access is an unnerving concept. Nexus Dynamics seems to have anticipated this fear, building in a system they call the Guardian Protocol. The Guardian is a separate, dedicated AI that acts as an ethical and safety-focused overseer. It audits every single action Giga Agent proposes before it's executed. It checks the plan against a strict set of ethical rules and, more importantly, against user-defined constraints. You can tell it, never post to my personal social media, or do not spend more than $100 on any task, and the Guardian will enforce those rules absolutely. Security is also paramount. Credentials aren't stored on a hard disk. They exist in encrypted, ephemeral memory that is wiped the instant a task is complete. It uses advanced zero-knowledge proofs for authentication, allowing it to prove its identity to a service without ever actually exposing the raw keys. This is security by design, at a level most corporations have yet to achieve. And for those worried about a black box, Giga Agent offers a glass box mode. This gives you a complete step-by-step replay of its entire thought process, every API it considered, every piece of data it analyzed, and the rationale behind every decision it made. It's radical transparency. This isn't just another incremental update. The launch of Giga Agent marks a fundamental dividing line in the history of technology, the time before and the time after. Before, humans were the operators, and AI was the tool. After, AI has become the operator, the strategist, and the creator, all in one. Fixed tool assistants are now relics. Why would you use an assistant that only knows how to use 10 tools, when you can use one that can teach itself to use 10 million? A single freelance graphic designer can now orchestrate a global advertising campaign. A solo biologist can analyze petabytes of genomic data from multiple research databases. A lone creator can produce a feature film. The barriers to entry for complex, multi-stack workflows have just been vaporized. The question is no longer, what tools do you have? The question is now, what problem do you want to solve? We are at the very beginning of this new era. An era where our ambition is the only limit. The era of the autonomous agent has arrived. So the only question left is, what will you build? Thank you for watching.